Hi, welcome. In this video, I'd like to take a couple minutes to discuss the depth of the connection that dogs share with us through nature and through the pack relationship. Now, this connection is relational. Again, it's all about the relationship. It's all about perceptions of the dog through this connection. And when you begin to really step back, what you'll see from personality types who are struggling with overcoming behavior issues, you'll see the same thinking patterns. You'll see the same type of connection happening, which again you'll start to understand that okay, something more is happening here. This is not some sort of accident or coincidence. People who are struggling with behavior issues there's a failure to come into right relationship through leadership. Again, going beyond again, we talk about the idea of leadership. It's really understanding, okay, what does that really mean? Well, again, getting into this idea of strength and weakness, how that's defined through the personality type of the person. So, again, people who follow the more assertive, confident, leadership-oriented way of connecting with dogs at that level are going to be successful. And those who are more emotionally connected with dogs, have their feelings kind of tied into the relationship, but not reconciled through leadership. That's the group of people who are going to struggle to overcome behavior issues and problem. Because here's the point: through the depth of this connection, believe it or not, dogs know the real deal. I mean, this is something where it really challenges a lot of people to really comprehend just how profound, just how deep this connection is. Dogs are able to get a picture. They're able to really sense where you're standing in nature. It's kind of like how I describe it as like a picture frame with all, you can picture a picture frame and you kind of turn it over, and with all the nails that go around the backing of that frame, all the numerous nails that you can see coming around all four sides. And it's the issue of strength and weakness. It's about how your thinking processes, what they represent with each nail that goes into the backing of that picture, and this issue of strength and weakness, and what that means through this connection, through nature, and through the relationship itself at that level, through this connection. Again, I talk about dogs as social relational animals. I'm really speaking of this connection, the depth of this connection, how dogs are able to get a real sense of whether or not you're reconciling your emotional state through leadership. And again, it's just beyond. It goes even beyond the idea of leadership. A lot of times people talk about leadership, but again, getting into this issue of personality type of people, what you'll start to see is you'll make the same connections. Again, over the years, I'm talking, almost like over 20 years now. When I look at all the people coming to me, and it's been consistent. Over 50% of the people I help continue to think the same way. Generally, again, this is you'll see a gender issue here. Again, this is not meant to be a sexist comment, but again, the people that seem to take things that way are the ones that are really in conflict. I mean, they don't want to, face off on this stuff. But again, generally, you'll see typically more women than men. And when I talk about more, I'm talking like a high number, 85, 90% of those who struggle with behavior issues are going to be women. Because again, women are more maternal than men, think differently. But again, this is something people have to understand, look beyond this, to say, when I start to really step back and look at this stuff, well, that's interesting. I mean, you can't deny what it is. I mean, you look at that stuff, say that's incredibly high. I'm seeing this over and over and over again. But again, this is like one of those relational indicators. It doesn't speak of, when I focus in on the person, I immediately move beyond that. That's just a relational, something interesting. Say, okay, there's something here. And again, not just with that, but then again, getting into the specifics about the person's individual thinking, you'll see it all lines up. It really does. It all lines up. But again, this goes into the part and parcel as to, we're very, we struggle with, and we have a very hard, difficult time assessing our own emotional state. I mean, we're terrible at it. I mean, and this is where, when I look at somebody, I'm looking at the words they use. Even if you watch how much they're touching their dog, you'll see you see their hands all over their dogs, petting and stroking the dog, all time, just constantly. And again, it'll all line up. It'll completely line up. But again, there's a couple little twists here so people understand. This is where I talk about the need level of the dog. All dogs have the same type of need, but the levels can be through the roof, can be higher for some dogs. And so this relational need will cause some variance there. For example, you could still be a very, assertive, confident person, but because the dog's relational need levels are very high, you're still going to have struggles. In fact, this is where it's got to line up. I mean, this is where sometimes it's easy, actually, because it's not about the method itself changing how people think at that level, because oftentimes there has to be a lot of change how people think. The method promotes that. Even when you see me encouraging people to make sure you push on your dog, bring influence online, it's meant to move the tachometer of the mind over. It's meant to really, it's like an echo, change how people think. But the good news is, more often than not, most people are deep down very assertive, confident people. And so it's just a matter of lining it up properly. The method will do that. And so anyway, just to give people a heads up, I mean, when I talk about, social relational connection, I'm talking about the connection itself, what that means to the dog at that level, to nature, the depth of that connection. And it really speaks of the person's personality type, their character, how they think, and how they're reconciling their emotions through leadership or a lack of doing that. It's really important to get a sense of it, because this is the thing that goes into this issue of motives, of why the motives of the dog don't clean up. Because again, when people, and this is another really important point, when you're approaching training as a learning-based exercise and not for what it is, it's a relational changing process, oftentimes the motives don't clean up because the person doesn't change. That's key here. Dogs, again, know the real deal. It's about change being promoted at this level. It's really important that the people change how they think. The depth of this connection, again, is very profound. It's amazing to me. This is what makes, for me, the relationship with dogs incredible. For a lot of people, they struggle in that. But for me, by understanding the motives of dogs at this level, you can see through everything. You start to make these connections, these patterns of certain people, personality types. And don't get me wrong, not in a judgmental way like that. So when I'm helping people, I'm not going all into that saying, well, look what you're doing here. No, I'm immediately getting into helping them through the script changing process. I'll go into some of this, but just so people understand, there's a real depth here to the connection that really is profound. And when you really think about it, it all will start to make sense. When you start to really understand the depth of this connection, everything will start to make sense as to why so many people can be totally deceived by appearances. When it doesn't line up for one person and another person's successful. Again, it's about how people think, at that level, and about motives again. So anyway, I'm going to put out some videos here just to help people understand some of the terminology that I use, what I'm talking about when I'm talking about dogs at this level, the depth of the connection, what that means, and encourage people to really think about what I'm saying about appearances, about what training is. If it really is about changing how people think, well then, the type of training that you're doing, is it really doing that? Ask yourself the question, is it really changing how I'm thinking, or is it giving me is it kind of suggesting that I don't have to change how I think? And then you get an issue with motives. Again, when things don't clean up, well, that's what's happening. Dogs know the real deal, they really do. They know whether or not they know where you're standing in nature, and they actually know if you're changing how you think or not, whether or not you're actually coming to right relationship through leadership or not. They know the real deal, they really do. So it's just something to think about. Have a great day.